We all know Magnamon X is absolutely insane with its immune and protection effects, so watch these games to find out how truly strong it is.
Alright, so for our first game, we're gonna go off the challenge against one of the most hyped decks as well, Imperial with Magna X. Really curious to see how this goes, and there's gonna be quite a bit of back and forth, which is gonna be really interesting and really good gameplay there too. But anyways, with our opening hand, what I mainly want to look for is usually a level 3 and a level 4. That's really just the most important thing, and of course Tamers, Davis, and searching other cards are fine to go alongside with it, but most importantly, like I said, Veemons and Magnamons. You need a combination of both so you can digivolve, and that's how you kind of cycle and draw and ensure that you can always play just from that. Decide to go ahead and go a little bit aggro, you know, chip away their security as much as we can. Here I'm sitting at a spot trying to think like, oh, I guess I can go into Magna X right here and just sort of pass turn to pass them at 2, but I just felt like, oh, you know what, I kind of want to just go into a Magnamon to have double blocker so then I could get into a Magna X the next turn in case if this one I have to armor purge it and kind of lose it. But in hindsight, I think that may have been slightly suboptimal. I think I should have just went straight into Magna X sooner than later anyways, because it's such a powerful card, and I know you guys are just, you know, huge fans of this Digimon anyways and want to see it in action. That's what this whole gameplay video is supposed to be for, but don't worry, trust me guys, you guys will get to see it in action later on. Sit tight, we're gonna go for some really crazy combos later too anyways. But they go into Pulverize, and that's the reason why I felt like I should have just went to Magna X a little bit earlier on. They do suspend the entire board along with the Veemon as well, but they decide to go for the Magnamon to swing over and pierce, and these are the moments that you guys will have to learn when you're playing against Magnamon specifically. Always take out the Veemons first, because when they checked into this Magnamon, it gives us so much momentum here to de-digivolve their Pulverize, strip a source, and then we get to digivolve into this Veemon, you know, giving us a lot of value. Basically like a free evo, almost like a blast digivolve, almost like a counter against them, and chances are it happens, and they just lost their Pulverize because of that, and now they just have to rebuild. They managed to get into this Dino B here this time and re-DNA with that same stack all over again, and they're gonna swing over the other Magna. But yeah, you guys can see if they swung over the Veemon and then they would swing over the other Magna first, then we weren't able to have this kind of free digivolve, and you know, they would actually gain a lot more momentum, and we would have been severely punished for not going into Magna X a little bit earlier on. So we did get a little bit lucky here, and they decided to go for a Megadef just to return it, and because they know the Magna X is going to be coming next turn, and we have plenty of memory to work with because of Davis. We'll be gaining that extra 2, but now we have an empty board. We're just going to go again into this Magna again, strip down sources, and that's one of the nice things with Magnamon against Imperial, because most of their Digimon have 2 colors, so we can strip top 2 sources off of them to prevent them, I guess try to strip more sources and get more value off our Digivolve usually. So we're gonna sit tight here. I'm not too worried if they try to attack because I have a Zudo Ace as well ready to go, but I won't be able to bounce that Dino B just because it has so much sources underneath it. And they're going to continue to go for a Davis can start a turn, playing the Veemon to surge, grabbing quite a lot of cards and value off of here as well. And I think they're going to contemplate here what the big turn is, because they have to think twice before they swing. We might potentially ace them. It could be big, or they might just have to find ways to set up and find ways to DNA all over again, which could be not the ideal way, because if they try to play any more cards just for the sake of setting up, then that means we still get into Magna X the next turn anyways, and then things are just gonna go like completely into our favor. So understandable that the opponent needs to sort of like think here a little bit and sort of decide. And yeah, we're totally okay. The Magnamon's a blocker because the next turn we're just gonna push up with that Veemon, and if they don't deal with our board, we're just gonna go straight into Magna X, and then with straight into Magna X, we can just do checks, gain immunity, unsuspend, and a whole lot of shenanigans, and basically control the game flow from there as well. We got a lot of nice tools. We also got the Awakening of Golden Armor, which was checked in security, and that's going to be helpful for us as well to help us get into Magna X for reduced cost. So it looks like they actually interestingly go into the SC9 Imperial here, playing out 2 bodies and putting us to as little memory as possible by suspending Davis and Ken to gain 1 here. So we only have 3 memory to work with. So here I was about to push up, but I kind of decided, you know what, maybe it's not really the best idea to push up anyways, just because I actually now have a completely different play because we can utilize Death X. They have 5 bodies on board. We have a chance to basically clear most of their bodies on the field. And this gives us this opportunity, which is why there's no need to push out with that Veemon. And also just because I didn't have a secondary rookie to get into later on anyways, because my hand is now just full of Magnamons, so I just felt like it wasn't needed just in case they ever get rid of it. And I want to utilize that Veemon to give myself a bit of value to gain memory back. So we're basically kind of like back in the whole same board state a little bit, but we're gaining a little bit of advantage bit by bit, because now having that Death X on the board is going to change a lot of things for them at this point, because they're not going to be able to sustain and last as long, because everything with the lowest play cost gets deleted at the end of their turn. It looks like they want to go for a Giga Death, but it probably wouldn't be the most ideal way to do it anyways, just for the sake of getting rid of Death X. So I'm just trying to see, I think they're just trying to see if there's a way to potentially get rid of this Death X somehow, which they have to get rid of it. Now they have 2 bodies to deal with. Either they have to get rid of Magna or Death X. If they don't get rid of both, you know, we're still getting value one way or the other, and we'll still establish like some form of advantage either way. So they go into Stingmon here just to Digivolve, just to draw. And I think, yeah, they're just trying to find pieces that they probably are just missing a little bit here at this point. And we're just gonna see and react. Basically, we're pretty good. If they choose to attack us, we can always Pseudo Ace. Now the Dino B has less sources. We can actually strip away 2 sources off of their Digimon, like one from the Sting, one from the Dino B, and then we can just possibly bounce that Dino B, or even bounce the Stingmon. But oh, looks like they go into the old fighter mode right here instead. And again, with Davis and Ken, they can suspend down, bouncing our Death X back to our hand. Now at this point, doesn't make too much sense for us to play it all over again, just because now they only have 3 bodies instead. It only really would reduce it by not as much as we would. But here I kind of see a potential for lethal, and this is the crazy combo we're gonna go for soon. So I'm quite trying to see, okay, let's go for this attack first and seeing they would bait a block here. We end up actually getting armor purge, so that's kind of nice. This means we can go into the other one, draw, and we can actually take away that Imperial Fighter mode, so they no longer have blocker. Now that they no longer have blocker, I'm just thinking we can actually go into Magna X for pretty cheap, because we're gonna go into with Awakening of Golden Armor, and then with that we're gonna unsuspend with 2 memory left, and having that 2 memory is pretty crucial here. I'm actually gonna go swing with the Veemon first, because Magnamon has immunity anyways. It has extra 3k, and we're gonna go for the final Zubagon punch combo here to go for 2 checks, bumping up all the way to 18 or 19. Really massive DP, 2 checks, unsuspend, activating his when Digivolving all over again, and finishing the game just like that. Alright, game 2, we're playing against Digipolice, Commandramon, D-Brigade, Darkdramon, all that, or Brigadedramon now. And yeah, we are going first this time. I'm contemplating, I really want to mulligan this, but I'm just like, what if we don't draw a better hand? Because, you know, like I mentioned before, all you really need is a Veemon plus a Magnamon, and you should be usually ready to go. So I'm just like, okay, you know what? We'll keep it. We'll have to just Digivolve at the back and forego quite a lot of like advantages and memory gaining and all that kind of stuff, or not memory gaining, but kind of like lose a little bit of value compared to just Digivolving in the front, because we had the promo Veemon. But now we can establish it with a Davis, and now we have another Veemon to work with, and we're just going to try and chip away at the security as much as we can, just because they can kind of rush us down. They can go up and then they can go wide, and they can, you know, attack us a lot. These are one of the moments, or some of the matchups that I kind of wish, like, okay, BT9 Magna X would be pretty good here, just to stop them from, like, you know, trying to swing into us with like their small bodies, right? Because we can infinitely redirect. But that's totally fine. We're still going to be able to showcase quite the magnificent power of Magna X, the new one, to go for massive damage, and we can take them out before they take us out. We still have a lot of control elements, just because we have blocker, you know, we have Pseudo Aces, and we have a lot of interaction during the opponent's turn to sort of like play around them as well. So it looks like they're just going to continue to search and find pieces and gather what they need and cycle through to what has to go back to the top of their deck and all that. Playing Commandramon is sometimes tricky, because you gotta plan, you know, several turns ahead and see what you can do, and, you know, plan for the most effective turns and whatnot. So it looks like they go for, you know, the new option. I'm just gonna call You know, that option is just too long. I'm not gonna say it. Anyways, I forgot his name anyways, because yeah. Anyways, back to our turn. We're just gonna continue to chip, draw. That's what I want to do as much as I can. I want to utilize the promo Veemon to draw as much as I can, just because our hand started off a little bit rocky. You know, we had a lot of Magnamons to work with, which is kind of funny. Like, our hand is just filled with tons of Magnamons, and since I knew they were going to go to 3 from Shu Yulin anyways, I decided to go into Magna X right here to unsuspend my Magnamon, take this opportunity and try to apply pressure on the board, because once Magna X is on the board, the opponent is gonna have to answer it, find ways to play around it. They're gonna have to find a way to deal with it somehow, but at the same time, it's got the immunity. Just an incredibly powerful card. As soon as it hits the board, it just has such a strong presence, and the whole game flow just changes. We're sitting really well right now. We're just going to continue to attack them, and they have to find a way to build up as quickly as possible. If they can't, and if they can't get into their top end before that, we are actually able to finish the game almost in an instant with one of my favorite combos, which you probably guys saw earlier as well. So here we're pretty good. We got lots of memory to work with. We can digivolve into this Magnamon. We're gonna make them trash a source, and we're gonna try to sort of chip away and see if we can actually finish the game as well. And by doing so, we're gonna chip away that one security, draw cards, see where we're at, and then we're gonna go for the final Zubagon punch. Keep in mind, Magna X's effect of using the when digivolving again is always you may. So we get to choose to use it here, and we get to basically go for the same combo and win like that. Alright, game 3, we are actually playing against Leviamon, Levi X, which actually got a bit of new support with some of the X Antibody cards for their line. So we're gonna see and test it out and how this matchup's gonna go. Looking at our hand, this is okay. We decide to keep here. Definitely makes sense because we just have Veemons to work with. We're all the 3 different kinds. We're able to search as well if we want to. We can digivolve and do all that stuff. And we also have Shu Yulin, which we get to see it in action to be very helpful in this deck this time around, because there's another really cool combo we can utilize her with it. Not only she's a memory tamer for us, but also there's a really good unique applications to give our Magna X specifically having Alliance and Reboot as well. This is a really good example of the new Asyakomon with the starter main phase or on play effect, where we kind of have to trash a card from my hand, otherwise the opponent gains a memory. Same going into this Gesomon, they're just getting a lot of memory. We're not going to trash our cards. Cards in our hand in the early stages of the game are pretty important, so we're going to let them gain the memory off, and they're just going to build upwards with Garurumon, and yeah, they're just going to cycle through a lot here, and it's going to be very helpful. Sunomon to draw extra cards as well. So we're just going to promote and go out anyways, and we can go into this Magnamon, take away a source, and probably bounce the Guru back out. And then we can start chipping away at their security a little bit. Since it's still a little bit early, we want to draw some cards. Running into Binding Crush right here is a little bit painful, but it looks like they actually don't have a Levi or Levi X to trash away from their hand, so then they could have set it. Now, not being able to set Binding Crush gives us the opportunity to actually start playing Digimon via effects. That's one of the things that we have to be very wary of when it comes to this matchup. We don't always want to play our Digimon off of effects, because if we do so, we're just feeding straight into their traps. So we want to be careful about it. We want to think twice. If there's nothing to utilize or they can play out or sort of capitalize off when we play something effects, that's when we want to use it as much as we can. Those are the moments that we would play our Davises to play our Veemons for free. That's usually how it goes. And same goes with the Magnamon that we have on the board. That's BT13, because it does play via effect. So we want to make sure we have those opportunities in situations where they aren't able to go into Levi X, then we play them and play around it that way. But that slows us down a little bit, because then we don't have as free reign as we usually do, but that's totally okay, because we still have a lot of control tools to help us keep us in the game, and Armor Purge does keep our board afloat a little bit, so then we're not playing stuff either. I decided to go for another Shu Yulin here preemptively, just because I felt like Levi X is going to come out soon some way or the other. Seeing that in the trash anyways, they're going to end up deleting one of them. It deletes Tamers, so we want to be able to withstand and sustain the extra memory, and I just felt like I didn't really need to go and push out for a big play just yet. I had that mental training that I could have used to search, but then I wouldn't be able to like pass them to as little memory as possible, because you guys can see they can still gain quite a bit of memory during their turn and still continue with their combos and plays off of this just like that. And I just want to ensure that we have, of course, a Shu Yulin, because it's going to pay off for sure. You guys will see later. And anyways, here, this drawing, cycling, lots of cards, digivolving, Sunomon's giving them a lot of value, lots of inheritables to go through as well, all at the same time. Looks like they want to go for a protoform here, but you actually can't use protoform to go into Dragomon. It doesn't work that way. Protoform only lets you digivolve into X Antibody, so I think they thought they could have done that at that moment. The proper ideal way would have actually used protoform to go into Gesomon, then protoform will be underneath it, and then when you force us to play a Digimon via effect, that's when you can use the Leviathan X overall. So this situation looks like they're missing a few key pieces or cards they're trying to draw in cycles. They're just going to go and sort of swing away anyways with Gurumon. So we're just going to go ahead and block and stop the attack. We see a 7th lightning, so they are gathering resources, they are gathering weapons and ammunition to start destroying our board once they get into it later on. So again, they're just trying to see what they can do here. Our next turn looks pretty okay. We're gonna go into Magna again and then just sort of try to draw and cycle through any more cards. And this is exactly what they did it here anyways. They used Protoform to go into Gesso and stun our Magnamon on the board here once again. And we're just gonna go into the Veemon, promote it out. We're just gonna Digivolve into Magna. We do strip 2 sources off their Gessos, but we aren't able to bounce anything, which is fine. We just want to draw and chip away, and hitting a wisdom there, that's giving them a bit of value, isn't it? So I'm here just contemplating. I know they are gonna go for the combo regardless the next turn. They're gonna go for the line, they're gonna go for Drago, they have Leviathan X all ready to go. So I decide to preemptively go into Magna X here, giving them quite a bit of memory to work with, but I'm okay with that just because we need to protect our board, because if we don't have anything to protect ourselves, we don't have anything to push out the next turn either. They're just going to go for tons of security checks on us, and we won't be able to defend ourselves from there, and we need that Magna X here. So going into this, giving a bit more memory would probably be the play that I want to go for. I need to survive here, because otherwise I think it will be all over and the Crocodile is just going to chomp us up. But here, having that immunity is just so key and so good. They force us to play something with Dragomon. We don't get any on-play effects, but we at least get to play this Magnamon that can give us a little bit of value, draw a card if it ever would leave the battle area, and then we can also play a Veemon back out in the right timing as well. They get to play something out as well, and they get to this Shakomon here, drawing cards, trashing a card, and then they get to draw more off Suno here once again. And because everything has all activated in line, play the Digimon via an effect, they get to go into Leviathan X, and this is the whole reason why I had set up 2 Shu Yulins and choked them at that memory at that very important turn, just to make sure we have another one. They do delete Shu Yulin, they get to delete a Magna by bottom decking their 7th lightning here as well. And I think chances are in the sequencing, they could have actually just went for 7th lightning first to delete our Magnamon, and then that way when we play this Veemon out, they would have deleted the Shu Yulin and the Veemon alongside with it anyways, because now we actually get to keep this extra body on the board with the Veemon, which wouldn't be that big of a deal anyways. I think, you know, with the gameplay later on, we still managed able to utilize it, but it seems like they're trying to see what plays they hear. They can't really check into us with Leviathan X because our Magna X is still sitting at 16k, and if they try to attack into us, we're just going to block it, and once we block it, they basically just lose their entire stack, and it's not strong enough. So it looks like they go for a Biting Crush play here. They want to go for Biting Crush because they want to set it up, prevent us to play something. And yeah, that Veemon actually kind of mattered there. But anyways, we're going to take advantage of this with a ton of memory. We are going to go for an explosive combo, and we're going to showcase you guys how good Shu Yulin is as well. So I'm just want to ensuring that I'm playing around security bombs. So I'm going to preemptively use Final Zubagon Punch on my Magna X, and I'm going to use Blinding Ray to trash my security to give it its when Digivolving again to be immune, but we won't get to unsuspend this time. But we're going to go for Alliance triple checks with a ton of DP, and since we have a lot of memory, we can just go into second Magna X and swing for game. Check out this video for more BT16 gameplay guides. Also, special thanks to premium and deluxe members for supporting the channel. Thank you so much, and as always, you guys have a great day, great night, wherever you are. Stay tuned for the next video, and this is AVAULT signing out.